All right. When the machine gets the power, the people get the bill. That's my thesis tonight. All right. So I want to start with the part that should make every one of us as Americans sit up straight, the hairs on the back of our neck stand up. Listen to this. Nearly 50,000 electricity customers in Lake Tahoe are now in a power scramble because Liberty Utilities, that's the company serving the California side of Lake Tahoe, has to replace roughly 75% of its electricity supply by May of 2027. That's a year from now. Why is this? Because NV Energy, the Nevada utility that's been supplying that power, says it can no longer provide the power. And here's the backdrop. It's not just a bunch of families that are suddenly buying too many refrigerators, or it's not grandpa leaving the porch light on all night. It's the explosion of AI data centers in Nevada. SFGate reported that Liberty told California regulators NV Energy had a, quote, change of stance and could no longer provide power to Tahoe, while Mayor Cody Bass warned residents and businesses who are concerned that they could be, quote, without power by or at May of 2027. Liberty's president tried to calm people down, saying that this does not mean the power is shutting off. But even Liberty's own filing reportedly called the situation a surprise, requiring immediate action. So, no, let's be precise here, okay? The lights are not being turned off tomorrow, but that doesn't make this better. In some ways, it makes it more insulting, because this is how it always works now. Nobody is going to come out and say, we're taking your power and giving it to the machine. They say, this is a transition. They say, this is a supply adjustment. Or maybe this is part of a changing energy market. Right. And we've seen this movie before. We know corporate speak when we hear it. We grew up on your call is important to us while being put on hold for 47 minutes. We know when the system is telling us politely to shut up and accept the upgrade. So here's the translation. The people who already live there, who paid bills there, raised families there, run small businesses there, and built communities there, are now competing for electricity against server farms designed to feed artificial intelligence systems owned by some of the richest companies in human history. And apparently the people are losing. One local resident told Fortune, it's like we don't exist, quote unquote. And honestly, that might be the most accurate sentence in the entire story. Because to the machine economy, you don't exist as a citizen. You exist as a data point. You're a ratepayer, a user, a compliance risk, a future customer for whatever subscription-based digital cage they're building next. This is bigger than Lake Tahoe. According to the International Energy Agency, global electricity consumption from data centers is projected to roughly double by 2030, reaching about 945 terawatt hours. That's not a rounding error. That's a civilization scale energy appetite. The IEA says data center electricity use is growing around 15% per year, more than 4 times faster than demand growth from other sectors, and that AI-driven accelerated servers are projected to grow electricity consumption at about 30% per year. The U.S. Department of Energy says data centers could consume up to 9% of total U.S. electricity demand by 2030, with the biggest growth tied, you guessed it, to AI. 9%. For context, that means while your utility bill goes up, while you are told to change your thermostat, while they shame you over your gas stove, while they tell you to unplug appliances and buy an electric car and then maybe not charge it during peak hours, the AI build-out gets priority. They get access to the grid. You conserve, they compute. You ration, they scale. You get a smart meter, they get a new substation. And then the same people will look into a camera and tell you this is progress. No, this is not just progress. This is the forced installation of the surveillance state. This is the forced installation of the compliance state. Because let's be adults here. AI data centers are not just powering funny chatbots and image generators. They are the physical infrastructure for predictive policing, social scoring, biometric tracking, automated censorship, financial surveillance, behavior modeling, and government corporate control systems that will not need to kick down your door if they can simply lock your account, deny your access, flag your movement, throttle your speech, or make you digitally invisible. That's the part too many politicians refuse to say out loud. And yes, to be fair, you've got Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have introduced the AI Data Center Moratorium Act. Their office described it as, quote, a reasonable pause, unquote, on AI development to create safeguards. The Associated Press reported that the bill would pause new data centers until national safeguards are in place to protect workers, consumers, and the environment. Now, do I agree with Bernie and AOC on the broader worldview? No, not even close. We're not even reading from the same hymnal. Their concerns tend to focus on climate and labor and inequality and environmental impact. My concern is more basic and frankly more constitutional. Who decided that private citizens, local communities, and residential ratepayers come second to the digital infrastructure of centralized control? But on this one specific point, slow down the AI data center freight train. I'll say it plainly. They may be standing in front of the right door, even if they arrive there by a different hallway. So where is everybody else? Where are the Republicans who spent years warning about big tech censorship? Where are the conservatives who told us the administrative state was out of control? Where are the populists who said they were fighting for the forgotten American? Because here you go. Here is the forgotten American in real time, not in theory, not in a campaign ad, not in a dinner or a diner photo op. Not nearly 50,000 utility customers watching their region scramble for power while data centers expand nearby. This should be a layup. This should be bipartisan. This should be every state legislature, every governor, every congressman, every senator saying, no data center gets priority over residential service. No data center gets grid access until it proves it will not raise rates on families. No data center gets subsidies while locals get uncertainty. And no AI infrastructure gets fast-tracked without public hearings, public contracts, public energy disclosures, and a hard wall between commercial AI systems and government surveillance. But instead, we get silence. Why? Because too many politicians are scared of the donor class. They're dazzled by the tech class, or they're too technologically illiterate to understand that the cloud is not an actual cloud. It is land. It is water. It is power lines. It is substations. It is diesel backup. It is eminent domain pressure. It's local rate hikes. It's rural communities being turned into server colonies. And the public is not crazy for noticing this. A Gallup survey reported by The Verge found that more than 70% of Americans oppose AI data center construction in their area, with only 7% strongly in favor. Among opponents, half-sided resource impacts like water and electricity. Pew Research also found 43% of Americans view data centers as a major reason for rising power bills. Opposition was not just left-wing or right-wing, it crossed party lines. Democrats, independents, and Republicans all showed strong opposition, and that should tell you something. The American people may not agree on very much, but apparently they can still recognize when they're being shoved to the back of the line by a machine. And don't miss the Nevada numbers. SFGate also reported that data centers used 22% of Nevada's electric power in 2024, and experts estimate that could reach 33% by 2030. And it's also reported that the power needed for just 12 new data center projects equals 5,900 megawatts, or 2.8 times what the Hoover Dam produces. Let that simmer for just a minute here. 12 projects, almost 3 Hoover Dams. And we're supposed to believe this is just another commercial development like a strip mall or a warehouse or a new Costco? Come on. This is not normal. This is not regular infrastructure. This is empire infrastructure. This is the new railroad, the new oil field, the new central nervous system of the state corporate machine. And if we do not draw lines now, the lines will be drawn around us later. The future they are building does not work unless you are monitored, metered, modeled, and managed. That's why the power has to move first. Before the digital ID, before the programmable money, before the AI moderation layer, before the automated debanking, before the social compliance scoring, before the for your safety restrictions, there has to be electricity, there has to be computing power, there has to be infrastructure. And when a community like Lake Tahoe gets pushed into uncertainty, we should not treat it like a local utility hiccup. We should treat it like a warning flare, because today it's Lake Tahoe. Tomorrow it's rural Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, or wherever the next quote unquote economic development project shows up with tax incentives and non-disclosure agreements and a promise of jobs that somehow never equals the size of the power bill. So here's the question every elected official should have to answer on camera. Do the people come first, or does the machine? Not, do you support innovation? Not, do you believe in American competitiveness? Not, do you want China to win? Those are dodgeball questions thrown by lobbyists. The real question is this: should American families ever lose reliable, affordable access to electricity so that trillion-dollar tech companies can build systems powerful enough to watch, predict, sort, and control them? And if your answer is anything other than absolutely not, then congratulations, you're not governing a republic anymore. You are managing a server farm with citizens attached. Maybe that's the whole point. Maybe the future they want is one where you own less, pay more, comply faster, question less, and thank them for the convenience. But some of us still remember when technology was supposed to serve people, not replace their communities, not drain their grid or monitor their behavior and then send them a higher bill for the privilege. So to every senator, congressman, governor, utility regulator, and local official, pick a side. Because when the machine gets the power and the people get the excuses, do not be surprised when we, the people, finally pull the plug.